Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. It's just me, Cheryl. So I'm back to doing all of my gardening, and this part of the video is from stuff that I had done in my garden last year. I was recording bits and then I just decided not to show it because I didn't feel like it was good enough, and imposter syndrome had came in. But I've put a lot of work into my garden and I'm back trying to grow my vegetables and fruit. And when I seen all this footage, I thought, you know what, I'm going to share it. It's nice to share it, even though what I was doing was an absolute pain, and I thought it was going to be easier to put like this black stuff on the fence, whereas another part of the fence I actually just put like wooden slats in between the gaps and it was much easier. But anyways, so last year I had started the journey of learning how to grow vegetables. I think last year I had grew peas, sweet corn, butternut squash, cucumbers. I can't remember what else I was growing. Some things worked, some things didn't. So I think I tried to actually grow strawberries and tomatoes, and they were a bit of a fail. I think I got like one tomato and one strawberry, so I'm going to try that again this year. So as you can see, my lovely dog Arlo is sitting on my plastic bag. I was using plastic bags and no nails glue to try and make some sort of DIY kind of like greenhouse cover, because mine had flew away. It literally flew away in front of my eyes and I don't know where it went. It was in someone's garden. And yeah, I thought I would just try and make one out of plastic bags instead of buying another one. It was an absolute, well, I wouldn't say it was a failure because it did work, but it was a nightmare. I didn't have enough cable tie, string, and I was trying not to put holes in the bags because I didn't want to let cold air in. And honestly, I just wish I had bought a cover. It was just a pain, but it did last us a couple of months. And then I thought I was getting a whole greenhouse and cover on Temu for £5, but it just turned out to be the cover. But the cover fit this greenhouse perfectly. So in the end I did actually end up changing it, and I decided to go down the route of trying to get concrete out of the garden. Oh my god, this was an absolute nightmare, and looking back now, it was an absolute waste of time. So in my garden, from all of the previous fences, there's loads of concrete posts that are like underneath the soil, and in my head, my lovely brain was thinking, well, I can't plant flowers in here because there's concrete in the way, blah blah blah. So as you can see, I had a chisel thing, this mallet. I even bought this air powered kind of hammer drill to try and get out the concrete, and honestly we just couldn't get it out. We did get some chunks out, but then it left big gaps in the soil which then needed filling. And in the end, some parts of the garden I've actually put like raised beds, so it was pointless. The next step was making my raised beds. I'm really fortunate because I've got loads of pallet collars from the factory where I work. I clean like the offices in a factory, and one of the lads was keeping like the pallet collars for us because he knew I was growing vegetables. So I brought a load home, painted them black, and I was just layering the bottom with cardboard and putting some compost in that in. These were good, but on the side of the garden that I put them in, my shed's kind of in the way, and I thought it was just going to be good having this tiny little vegetable patch, where the kids wouldn't like touch it. But then I had the problems where the dogs kept jumping on top of it every time I threw a bone, or they had the zoomies. They just kept jumping on top of me vegetables and it was driving us insane. And then with the shed being a bit in the way, there was only getting like partial sunshine. It wasn't getting like loads of sunshine like what the other side of my garden gets. So I have actually now moved the raised beds to the other side of the garden at the back, and I'm busy rebuilding my whole area and doing things differently. But it was quite good, like for the first year, to actually learn what to do and just practicing, and me and the kids really enjoyed it. But yeah, lesson learned. Obviously, if you have dogs, just beware that they will jump on top of your veggies. If you are going to be using pallet collars or any kind of raised bed like this, then I would recommend putting more than just cardboard in the bottom. I have learnt my lesson because it takes a lot of compost. I think this raised bed took about 4 or 5 bags of compost and it wasn't even full properly. And then as the year went on, the compost was like going down and down. So I would definitely recommend that after you've put the cardboard down, maybe putting a layer of like sticks and dead grass, log stuff like that in the bottom of your raised bed, and then putting your compost or soil on top of it, because you don't necessarily need all of that space for growing, and then the logs and the all the other stuff, it rots away in the bottom, and it's really good for your soil and all of your veggies and flowers. So one thing that I do like growing every year is sunflowers, and I kind of think I got a bit obsessed last year, and they're buckets of potatoes but in the grow bags are sunflowers. And then I had a lot of plant pots, and I mean a lot of plant pots just lined up across my garden with sunflowers. I started having to give them away, I had way too many. But I had sprinkled loads of seeds in a tray and just went crazy with them, and the sunflower seeds were just from my hamster, just from the pet shop, so there weren't any specific brand, and I just ended up with way too many. Then the buckets, they were from B&M's, and they were like £1.50 for a bucket. I think it's like 1.5 litres. Just drilled some holes in, which I had to be careful because I nearly did crack them. I just filled them up with compost, and me and my son filled them with, I think there was 3 potatoes in each bucket. The potatoes were just potatoes from Aldi. They were just their salad potatoes, so they weren't like anything from the the garden centre or anything like that. And honestly, we forgot about these buckets. I left them in the garden because I didn't think I was going to get a harvest from them. And this year, me and my son Eddie harvested all 4 buckets, and we got so many baby potatoes, and the kids have been eating them in the dinners because they know that we've grown them, been having them in salads. And honestly, it's just such a good feeling seeing all those potatoes, seeing your son just rummaging through and collecting them all like treasure. Oh, it was just such a good feeling. So potatoes are definitely going to be back on the list this year, but I think I might go to the garden centre and get some first earlies, I think it is, and maybe do it a bit better. So one of the things that bugs me the most about my back garden is it's not even anywhere. So I'm on Marketplace all of the time trying to look for topsoil, and someone was giving away this turf that they had basically just dug up from their garden, and I was like, I'll have that. My son was so embarrassed, but I'm trying to do my garden on a bit of a budget. So I went and got the turf and I laid it over some of the patches in my garden, and honestly at first it looked like a bit of a mess. It looked like a jigsaw thing, but I flattened it down, kept spraying it, and over winter it has actually helped level the garden out. I do need so much more, but it's quite a good way if you're on a budget to keep an eye out on Marketplace for things like that. So in this raised bed, which is my first raised bed, I decided to start planting out some of my onions. Now I had done onions from seeds and then put them on my windowsill. Absolute disaster. They grew a little bit and then nothing happened other than the dogs trampling on them, and there were just like these little grass twiggy things sticking out the soil. I also tried to grow peppers. Again, I started them off from seed on my windowsill. I don't even like peppers, so I don't even know why I was growing peppers. Again, they just didn't work. And then in this raised bed as well, I grew peas, just garden peas, and they grew quite well. Eddie absolutely loved picking them. He's like my little gardener. The other 2 aren't really that bothered about the gardening. They'll come out and help us a little bit, but not like Eddie. But yeah, the only things in this raised bed that really worked were the peas. So my nana has said maybe this time, instead of trying to grow them from seed, that I could maybe just get onion sets. And I have been looking online, and you can get like mixed packs as well, where you get red onions and normal onions. But I didn't actually realise there was different types of onions. I thought there was just red and white, but there's different types. So I need to do a bit of research, and I need to do it soon actually, because I really need to get them in the ground soon. So that's a little recap of 2024. I did try growing butternut squash and sweet corn and stuff, but I just didn't record it. And now we're going to move on to 2025. So, like I had said, I've been moving all of my raised beds to the other side of the garden, and I've doubled the size of my raised beds. So I've put the pallet collars on top of each other. Because I've put the pallet collars on top of each other, I now need to fill them with lots of sticks and that. And there's a field not far from me, and it's perfect. They basically cut down all of like the wild kind of flowers and everything that was grown, and it's left behind all of like this rubbly stuff, and there's lots of trees with lots of twigs and sticks and that. So I've been on a bit of a forage. I've been collecting all of the leaves from the back garden and down the side of my garden, and loads of dead grass, and I'm going to fill these beds. The first bed I have filled with all of the sticks and everything that I've collected, but I only half filled it. And then when I put the compost on top, I've realised that I really should have filled it a lot more. But I've got like another 4 beds to fill after this, so it'll probably get better as I go on. I'm still in the process of trying to level out this garden. Me raised beds are kind of like on top of where the garden dips, which is really good, but I do want all of the grass to be level around the outside of my beds. If I'm going to do it, I want to try and do it as kind of best as I can the first time so that I don't have to go back and change things later, although I probably will. You would have seen before, or kind of like where I'm standing, I have made like a bit of a border as well around the bottom of my garden. I had collected a lot of pallets from, where did I get them from? I think it was from work. Actually, I don't even know where I got them from, but I had got some pallets for free. I dismantled them, which is a really hard job, and I think you might have seen that in some of my previous videos. And then I made like a border around the garden. Again, the dogs love jumping on it, which is driving us insane. The cat keeps pooing in it. It's got tulips growing, and I can't remember what else I grew in there, and the dogs and the cat are just destroying it, but I'm trying, like I'm really trying. I do want to get a little greenhouse this year, another one, because I've got that one with the shelves on. I just need a cover for it again because it's broke again. I want to get one of those tomato greenhouses because last year I tried to grow tomatoes and my little greenhouse wasn't tall enough when I was moving the shelves around, and I got like one tomato, and I really want to learn how to make like sauces and stuff and, you know, soup. So yeah, that's going to be on the list of things to do. There's going to be 6 raised beds in total in my garden. I've got 5 that I need to fill up, and then I've got one at the very back, which I went to my nana's house and dug 2 rhubarb crowns from her back garden because she's got the most amazing rhubarb patch ever. So she kindly donated us some rhubarb crowns, and they're now in the back, and they seem to be taken really well, so I'm quite happy about that. Axel, my other dog, the biggest one, he has jumped over this raised bed once, but the dogs have sort of just running around them, so I think they've realised that it's just a little bit more effort to jump over these, so hopefully they should leave these raised beds alone. Sorry, I'm getting tired talking, out of breath. I do feel like the garden's going to take us quite a while to kind of get it the way that I want it to. Money's quite tight, I am working a lot, I've got 3 kids, so obviously with the English weather as well, it's not always that nice, which isn't always a bad thing because sometimes it's quite alright getting out when the garden's not that nice, but I need a lot of sticks and stuff to fill these beds, and it's a lot of trips, you know, to try and get all of this stuff, and it's really embarrassing when people are looking at you and you're dragging bags of sticks back home. Honestly, it's quite embarrassing. But yeah, I think it is going to take us quite a while to get this done, but I am really excited, and the kids are really excited as well. This bed that I'm filling up, I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think this might be my strawberry patch bed. In the fence, you can kind of see something green hanging on the fence at the back. We tried to grow strawberries in one of those hanging bags and it was a nightmare. They just kept going mushy and they were just dying constantly, so I really wouldn't recommend one of them bags. I'm either going to grow them in tubs this year or in this raised bed, and I do want quite a lot. We are a family of 5, so I don't want to be growing just a handful of like fruit and veg. I want to grow like a good amount. Carrots I want to grow, and again I want to grow a good amount because I can buy like 2 bags of carrots a week because the kids love carrot sticks and we use them in dinners a lot and for the dogs. Also want to grow onions. What else? Beetroot, me cucumbers again because they were quite a success last year. I'm not going to bother with sweet corn or butternut squash because the butternut squash last year, the plant thrived and it grew, but it only grew, I think it only grew male flowers, and then 2 female flowers grew and they started creating like the little bulbs of the butternut squash, and then nothing happened. And I know last year the weather was quite wet and loads of people had problems growing stuff, so that might have been it. And then obviously the shed not giving that part of my garden as much sunshine as I would like. There was probably a couple of things that didn't help. This side of the garden might cause a few problems as well for slugs. On this side of the garden there's like a 3 foot, I think it is, trellis on top, and it's got like loads of clematis or clementine, I'm not sure how you pronounce them, but that flower grows all the way along the trellis. When I painted the fence black, I noticed all of like the little slug trails, and when I've been trimming back, you know, to keep it tidy, there is loads of slugs that like live on that trellis plant, so that may cause us problems, but we'll deal with that in the future. Here are some lovely plants that I got from Aldi for £2.99. They are gorgeous, they are primroses, and I love them, and they're going to go in my front garden. But yes, I'm going to end this video here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe this video and follow along on my little journey, and I should be back soon with another video to show you some updates of what I'm doing. Bye!